All right, here we are with Ravenloft, The Conspiracy at Krezk, Season 1, Episode 3. I am Devin, and to my left we have Explain Why.
Tyler playing Phineas Grossbottom.
Kevin playing Asher.
And Peter Jack Angus.
Yeah, Nicole has retired from the game because she's a bit busy at the moment, so you can catch her in Blackstar. It is February 2018. And, gang, what happened last episode?
We had a waking nightmare.
We uncovered information regarding the possessors of the documents we found in the mines.
We played some music, and it was weird.
It didn't even sound like music, actually, so... Could be a code. Or a curse, and that's why we're all having horrible nightmares now.
A curse.
Or it could just be Ravenloft. So yeah, we investigated a little bit, we figured out some possible culprits of the conspiracy, some guy, Gerard Delisnia, of broken ethnicity.
Gerard Delisnia.
Gerard Disneyland.
It was Disney all along.
Goddamn bastard.
And yeah, and then we went to sleep, and everything was fine, sort of.
Yeah, someone was outside your window watching you like a Slender Man, and then you went to sleep and woke up in a nightmare Silent Hill purgatory.
Yeah, didn't have enough industrial music to it to be Silent Hill, but yeah. Should I use enough of that track?
It's a good track.
And then Kevin's cousin fell and broke his back, and we woke up.
I fell on one of you, actually, so that's why I'm okay.
Good times.
I think we were going to wait for the next day or something.
Which it was, because we woke up, and it was day.
Yeah, it was dawn when we woke.
And then we did a few rudimentary checkings of our places to figure out if... And they had all been broken into. Not broken into, but the doors were open.
Yeah.
Maybe from yourselves.
Possibly, yes.
If only had security cameras.
Yeah. If only you had to cyberize that we're recording stuff to a hard drive.
I mean, we've got some weird scientists.
I'll get right on it.
Whip up some cyberize in a VHS tape recorder. Get to it.
I use the world of engineering.
Legit, if I were to use a modern domain of Ravenloft, it would be a VHS horror story. Where you have like found footage Slenderman tapes that are all like scuffed and stuff.
An 80s setting, I'd say.
Basically. Or 90s. 90s was really the era of VHS after... Like, the 80s was big for it, but 90s was when home theater really took off and you could... There's this whole thing.
Honestly, that seems super plausible for Ravenloft too. Just a modern D&D setting that fell in there.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, you guys are awake in Krezk.
That's nice.
What do you do on this misty morning?
You guys said you saw a man covered in silverfish outside the windows before last night.
Yeah.
Can you identify where exactly he was standing, and we can go investigate that spot?
Oh yeah, by the gate, near one of the lanterns.
Okay. I want to go investigate by the gate.
Two different spots for their different windows.
I'll investigate each one in turn.
Sure. What kind of skills do you have for investigating? Do you think you'd
I have
apply?
notice.
All right. How are you applying your investigative stuff? Like, what are you doing to check it out?
Well, first I'm going to check and see if like the ground has been trampled or indented. It looks like anyone came and went by a way not other than the path. Then I'm going to see if there's any markings or droppings.
Sheddings, yeah.
Yeah, sheddings in the area. Anything left behind. Anything unusual that wouldn't be from a villager or someone just appeasing by.
Giving it an ocular pat down?
Yep, the old ocular pat.
Rub your face all over it.
All right. You'll probably just get results from that straight up, and then from there we can dive deeper into what might be expertise.
Sure.
So, you being a guy with, I'm assuming, a magnifying glass and a corncob pipe, head
Absolutely.
over to the site near the Krezk Gate. It was yours by a tree, Peter?
No, mine was by the gate.
Yeah, but there was a tree by the gate, like a little insular forest. It's all right. Anyway, by there, that specific tree and like that area by the wall, there's a patch that is covered in looks like mold or like very fine white hair.
Okay, I'm going to take a couple samples, and
Okay.
I'm going to...
It's delicate and silky,
Okay.
and it kind of runs from the ground and has like bits of it hanging off of leaves and stuff.
Does it look like silk?
It's not like spun silk. There's something. It's much more fine and delicate. Probably
would-
insecty.
Could it be the remains from silkworms? Or some other larva or
Spiders.
pupa?
Do you have academic stuff?
I have knowledge science.
Roll science.
Okay.
Knowledge weird science.
I have science, alchemy, and then supernatural.
I'm just imagining your character in the 90s setting just knows about the TV show Supernatural.
Yeah, just knows a lot about supernatural.
The
So I get,
cult. Well, Crowley has the cult by season 4.
I get 1 success.
Perfect. Okay. Yes, this is pupil silk / ejection from like a worm / larva. Like cocoon silk.
And usually larvae are in places that are cool, damp, out of the way, like
Yeah.
mines.
Yeah, or also just kind of everywhere in Barovia.
You've got
Okay.
lore, right?
What's that?
You've got like lore and stuff, don't you? Or
No, I've got science, alchemy, and supernatural.
okay. I'm trying to think of what connection moths might have in Barovia as far as like folklore and whatnot.
There's the folklore myth of the Mothman, which is an actual Barovian folklore myth.
Would that be easy to find out?
Yeah,
Given
you've
it's
been
a-
told it your entire childhood.
Do tell then.
There, the cliff notes for someone who grew up in Barovia is there's a Mothman, and he's sent from the devil, and watches you when you're asleep and causes people to disappear and buildings to collapse.
So it's like a foreteller of misfortune.
Yeah, it's a calamity or a. We had a word for it. I don't remember what it was anymore, but it's an omen.
Oh shit.
And he's described as a moth man, a large man with wings and glow-in-the-dark eyes, who will wait outside your house and watch you and haunt you.
Why does Ravenloft have so many foretellers of doom? Jesus.
I know, right?
Fucking baby things.
What's our doom there, then?
What is your doom?
Alright, so we're both from around here, so we figured
Yeah.
that out pretty quickly, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Mothman.
Okay. Well, that's certainly where my mind goes.
Hmm.
I'll go back and I'll inform the others.
And if you check the other place out with the same kind of scrutiny, you find similar Mothman signs.
Okay.
Larva, silk, disturbances, dust from probably wings.
Okay. I want to take as many samples as possible. I'm going to need them later.
Sure.
I'm in the pub like constantly. Is there any like a rise in talk of that story or anything like that? Or
People don't like talking about stuff like that.
Hmm.
Now talk about
It's not the fun kind of story that we'll tell.
Just get you drunk and then maybe talk.
Yes, the Mothman is a omen of calamity.
I'm pretty sure at like 6:30 in the morning, the only one in town who gets drunk is Asher. So
This kind of superstition is the stuff that Asher believes in. He's like, yeah, that sounds about right, Mothman.
Yeah. There's an actual special word for it in the Barovia thing, like the whatever, but it's the Mothman.
okay.
Which I thought was the best, because the Mothman's my favorite fucking cryptid.
Hmm.
He's so cool.
Okay.
Alright, well, that's a thing. Is there any way to, like, ward him off? Like, is there stuff about that?
Stay inside your house with your head under the covers.
Is he considered, like, a fairy or, like...
He's his own thing.
Alright. Asher's putting up a horseshoe above the door anyway.
Seems fair.
Since he knows about fairies roughly, he also was like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave a bowl of milk out, whatever. Keep this fucking thing away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm safe.
I'm 100% safe, and no one can get to me inside while I eat my Schmeckle shamrock shakes.
Except the cats drink their bowl of milk and then they won't have any protection.
Oh, they don't come into my room. They know what happens.
Now I just can't think of American Dad where the clone Steve is like juggling cat heads and eating them like apples.
Just did it in the middle of the pub one day, and that was all it took. They never came in again. Let them all know. Tell your friends.
But yes, you vaguely, like, you know the urban legend, even if you don't have anything, like, more substantial than it. You just know it's a bad thing.
Right. In the legends, does he typically come multiple times? Like, is there a build-up where, like, he'll come and you'll have an uneasy sleep, and then he'll come back and back until eventually you die and your house collapsed? Or is it usually just like a one-and-done thing? The Mothman shows up, something bad happens, that's it.
Depends on how drunk or how high off of mind fumes the person telling the story was at the time.
I can't see that being a story that would show up in the library of the Morning Lord, but
You never know.
maybe we could always go back there and look up, historical accounts. Well, one of us could look up historical accounts.
One of us can read.
Well, two of us.
Yeah, if you want to do that before we head to the woods.
Yeah. What time is it now?
Early morning. It's like in the AMs, 5, 6 a.m. The same time everyone in Barovia wakes up.
Oh, super early. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Dawn.
Let's do that. Maybe we can catch some breakfast.
Or do we want to check the stories maybe at the tail end of the day when light is starting to fade?
That is true. Yeah, we could just go in later, and that could be
I mean, let's build this around when we want to be in the forest.
as early as possible. We don't want to get caught out if we're out there later. They close the gates. We ain't getting back in.
You have to hole up in an abbey or something somewhere. The Barovia's lousy with them. Abandoned monasteries and stuff.
So I'm still a little uneasy on this whole ferry plan. What is it that you guys are planning to...
I
do
as
and
the
accomplish
DM, am
exactly?
also really unsure what's actually going to be happening here.
Not dealing with fairies or nothing like that. We're just going to try to find this specific stone with this specific symbol.
Right, I remember. You wanted to try and find the location in the forest that was in the drawing.
Yeah, exactly. It might have something to do with fairies, but hopefully not. Hopefully not.
So we're not actually trying to contact or meet fairies.
No.
If anything, if we could want to avoid it.
No. We're not.
We had a run-ins with them, and it didn't go that well.
We had a run-in with something.
Well, I'm going to dig around at home for a nice iron pot or skillet.
Fire poker.
Yeah, fire. Well, I'll take a skillet and a fire poker.
There you go.
Maybe something I can wear around my neck, too.
Horseshoe, whatever.
Horseshoe on a chain. Yeah.
Them's fighting gear.
Alright, so the land of Barovia. You guys are heading outside of Krezk Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you follow the old Svalich Road,
It sounds so ominous.
yeah, it cuts straight through Barovia. It's what people use to like do trade and stuff out of here.
Oh, you're a bit of a tracker, right?
A bit of one, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Alright, based on the drawings and descriptions of that fairy tale you have, how would you gather information to find out where that might be?
Well, the stones do look like fairy stones, so like that.
Yeah,
right?
and they dot Barovia.
Is there a specific area they kind of are more specifically
The woods.
the woods, which is most of Barovia?
All the parts that aren't mountain.
Where would we find that specific? Can we tell what kind of stone it is, or is it just a really rough kind of drawing?
It's a fairly informative like relief drawing on there, with details of there's details of like the plant, the foliage, the stones, the person. There's even like a little star map on top, like at the face of the moon. So there's information in there. How would you draw that information out to figure out where you should be looking?
Asher's worked with plenty of stone before, so I'm guessing he'd base it off the type of stone that is and where it would be around in this really mountainous area, actually.
Could you tell from the vegetation as well? Like, could you combine those someplace with those stones and that kind of plant?
Yeah, quite possibly. And
Alright.
if not, you could do it with the star charts. I mean, probably not during the day, but if we can't find it today, that'd be a good way to go about it.
All right. Based on that, what skill do you got?
Survivor.
Alright.
Survival.
Then roll survival.
Is there 80 in this system?
Is it worth a penny?
Yeah, I'll use a Benny to try and reroll. Does that give me both the D4 and D6 again, or?
Yeah, you're gonna roll your dice pool.
Okay, there. I got a success.
I'll raise. Okay. So you're able to narrow down without getting you guys lost for large amounts of time because you guys are traveling and stuff while you're doing this. Because the end result is you're going to find where you want to go. It just depends on how much time you're going to burn.
Mm-hmm.
So you're stuck in the woods, at night.
Yes.
You have to take the old Svalich Road down to Lake Bartok. Or it's called Lake Krezk on the map.
Mm.
So,
I guess by Barovia at large, it's called Lake.
Yeah, it depends, because the maps are from different editions and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
When I'm done the official hex map, which is coming along pretty good, it'll be properly labeled and shit.
Yeah.
And we'll have actual hexes, you can tell time. It'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you go down the old Svalich Road and eventually hit the Raven River and head up it to Lake Krezk. What season did I say we were in when we started? Was spring breaking?
Yeah, it was. Snow was thawing.
Mm-hmm.
Animals were coming out of hibernation.
Perfect. So yeah, with spring breaking and you head near Lake Krezk, the overpowering stench of the tons and tons of dead fish that pour out of the river or the lake during the spring wafts nearby.
Just gonna walk about with my kerchief over my mouth because
There's also a low-grade rustling of leaves and hum that is definitely the insects. Yeah, the mouth of the river that leads out of the lake just flows with dead fish. There's something wrong with Lake Krezk. Always has been. But yeah, deep into the forest surrounding the lake, you'll eventually, in good time, because you got your raise, come across a old fort.
what kind of condition is it in?
It's long since abandoned and degraded. Lots of stone and woodwork, like petrified wood and stuff that survived. The stone's worn down over time from all the many snows and rains. The fort itself is kind of built off those same... It's built nearby those same religious towers that are in the middle of Krezk, the prayer towers. And yeah, this area is basically the area you're looking for. Signs of standing stones are everywhere, like little circles and stuff and broken bits of old hewn rock.
Is there still a standing watchtower that looks semi-sturdy, or?
Yep.
All right.
So there's like a big gouge out of it, but it's been propped up with wood planks and whatnot.
Why don't we survey the area from here? Would be easier than just wandering around.
Yep, sounds good to me.
All right. So I think just from the tower in this area, just kind of.
This place is overgrown. It doesn't look like it's been visited very much in the last decade, maybe. Like it's been reclaimed by nature. But you can definitely see breaks in the trees nearby that point towards like a permanent clearing.
How's the vegetation looking? Are we starting to get plants similar to the ones in the drawing?
Yeah.
I'd say let's head to the clearing. Seems like the best area.
Because there was a clearing in the drawing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
okay, let's do this.
Okay. The woods are, thick and heavy again once you head away from this fort area, and eventually start to give way to a small, isolated clearing with a creek in it. Creek is a small running pure water stream coming out of a spring. And wrapped around the creek, or the creek wraps around a standing stone. Large, smooth, ovoid obelisks that are made out of rock that isn't native to the area at all. Like it's an older, more volcanic rock that's been smoothed over by time and polished, and the cracks have been filled in with different materials with designs all around them.
Let's investigate.
All right. What are you guys doing for investigating?
I guess notice that I finding something useful.
Yeah, but what do you like? What's your methodology?
I guess so we have the star charts, and that may be by that on the stones facing whatever constellation or have you, to know so which side of the thing to look for, and then just clear the stones up, hand over, see what there's.
Trying to find where the picture was taken from.
Yeah.
What about you, Kevin?
Well, I'm gonna go with the idea that there might be something buried here and look for an area that might have disturbed Earth or a sign that something might be like hidden.
Okay.
While they're checking out the stone, I'm going to be keeping an eye on the tree line and just sort of watching out and around. I mean, it's spring, it's early morning, the forest should be in full bloom, so I'm just going to be keeping an eye for anything coming towards us.
It's a very placid, picnicky day almost, where it's nothing but hearing the rustling of leaves and wind blowing. Now that you're a bit, basically, you shouldn't be far enough from Lake Krezk for there not to be the sound of flies and vermin. But for some reason, in the clearing, it just doesn't carry as well through the trees. You don't even smell it here.
Gives kind of a peaceful air to it.
Yeah, you're just hearing like when you're outside reading a book and all you hear is leaves rustling at camp. That's it.
This peaceful air makes me deeply uneasy.
Right?
We should start dowsing for some weird stuff.
Yeah, you're watching the tree line. Okay. In that case, Peter, you were doing what again? You were looking for the source of where the picture was taken. All right. What do you got for skills?
Notice.
What else?
Just survival.
Curious.
Knowledge. Science.
We'll do straight notice then.
I'm gonna reroll that.
Benny. That's a success. Perfect. Kevin, what were you doing again? You were looking for buried things?
You're searching the ground, seeing if anything's disturbed or hidden.
What's your character good at skill-wise?
Notice, survival, throwing, swimming, shooting, intimidation, fighting, and climbing.
Do swimming.
Swimming, okay.
And you were keeping an eye on the tree line for disturbances.
Yes.
What are you good at?
I'm good at artifice, repair, notice, and then I've got knowledge.
How are you staying on guard, basically? Like, how are you staying alert? Like, what, are you just, like, doing manual scanning or anything?
Yeah, I'm trying to take... I'm not much of a naturalist myself, but I've got a very curious bent. So I'm trying to take detailed, exhaustive mental notes about everything that I'm seeing.
I'm going to say you're not going to need to roll then, because you automatically are going to succeed at this. Okay. So, Peter, you got your success?
Yep.
Kevin?
I got a success, yep.
All right. Peter, your character's name again was
Jack. Jack Angus.
Jack! Okay, Jack. So you're heading through the various standing stones, and eventually you find one that looks like it's made of a different material than the rest of them, just as you start to move moss away and stuff. And it's one of the medium-sized ones, and you peel away the moss and whatnot. It has the same patterning on it that you guys saw in the drawing. And you take some steps back, you look kind of at the sky, because some stars are pretty visible during the day, depending on the seasons. And you kind of match it up, and by walking backwards, you basically find the spot where you think this whole thing was sketched from, and there's like an old petrified log with like some stone resting areas around it, and the signs of an old like campfire pit. And it matches up with the scene.
Perfect.
Do with that information what you will. Asher, you spot something in a deeper bend of the creek and dive on in. It actually goes like about 2 men deep while it's still crystal clear.
Huh.
And on the silty bottom is a stone chest that is probably about as big as your thigh.
I'm probably strong enough to pull that up.
Yeah. There's plenty of give and bank to pull on.
I've also got brawny, so...
There you go.
Yeah, I'll heft that right out of the water.
And Phineas, someone's walking out of the clearing coming from the east side.
I'll say hello in a in a friendly way, but loud enough that my compatriots can hear.
In a noticeable way.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Kind of a cheery, like, hey, stranger, didn't expect to find anyone else up here in the woods.
How do you do?
All right. Before we get to that, then, Jack, with the clearing part you're in, is there anything you're looking for specifically, or is there anything you want to do here?
I don't think off the top of my head I have anything. Maybe once we start converging back on it, like, so there are the people standing around in the painting that probably would investigate that further, like, oh, from their perspective, what's going on here.
Gotcha. All right. And you're coming up with the chest right when you hear him calling out. All right. There is a young woman walking out of the clearing. She's maybe in her, it's hard to tell really, late teens. Clearly Vistani. Like, she has the dark black hair. She's wearing the same type of clothing, the very eclectic, very bohemian kind of outfits they wear compared to Barovians and their potato sacks of died at childbirth fall lineup. But she is wearing a rather large, thick black wool coat for spring and is just kind of approaching you guys and doesn't really acknowledge you saying hi. She's just heading into the clearing, like where you guys are.
Okay. Well, I think the etiquette in this situation, as like a native Barovian, would be to just
Spit
leave
on
them.
her.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
aren't they under the protection of Straw?
Yeah, exactly.
To instead, so to just leave her alone about her business.
Leave her like some wild endangered animal. Don't touch.
Your first impulse is to spit on the stranger, but your second, better impulse is to not get killed by Strahd von Zarevich.
The moment I see her, I'm just going to sit on that chest and like kind of cross my legs in front of it to hide what it is.
Goddamn.
Hide my loot.
Vistani.
Oh. Swiper, no swipey.
Good lord. She heads to the kind of the spring that the crick forms out of, and has under that cloak a large sort of kettle and is filling it.
That's nice.
Okay.
I'm just going to watch her as she does this. I assume there are signs of Vistani, like settlements and whatnot.
Vardos and caravans, they have their own little moving wagons that they set up camp into clearings and whatnot, and then when they're done, they leave and leave no trace of having ever been there. Not even disturbed grass or burn marks.
I'm going to try to
So
use... go ahead.
I was just saying, so the fact that this area looked obviously untouched when we came in isn't necessarily an indication that they weren't here or don't visit here because they leave no trace.
Yeah, exactly. It's impossible to tell and frustrating for people. There are clearings all throughout the side of the road in the forests in Barovia where Vardos will show up and then disappear into the morning mist as quickly as they came.
Now that we know that there's Vistani about, I'm going to try to listen to hear if I can hear fire crackling or the sounds you would hear of a Vistani caravan to figure out if they're close.
No, placid, quiet, undisturbed.
Okay, yeah, I'll just wait for her to do her thing and leave again.
She puts the kettle near where Jack is, and starts to go about the standing stones with small little shears, and is clipping like fruit and flowers off of nearby plants that are growing by the stones, and putting them in like a small satchel.
I'm going to take some notes on what exactly she is cutting.
Now that you're paying attention to what she's cutting, some of the plants growing nearby, some of the standing stones are not native to the area.
Okay.
You're pretty sure she's trimming some buds off of Darkanese amaranth, which is, as you imagine, native to Darkon.
Right.
Useful.
One of the standing stones, another one has Falkovnian, what do they call it? Falkovnian Prisoner's Mercy, which is a type of plant that prisoners are sometimes smuggled in by sympathetic guards or staff in a torture chamber to kill them.
Oh, brutal. So there's awesome poisons around here. Okay.
I mean, there's plants around here, and plants are poison.
That is true.
There's a type of mushroom you can eat that if you eat it, will feed you for the rest of your life.
So looking around now, this place is actually pretty alien then.
Yeah, now you're really focusing in on it. Like if you follow Phineas's kind of
The look
line
on
of
his face.
inquiry,
Yeah.
there's a lot of plants around here that aren't from around here and don't grow in this climate.
What about the stones or the ground or the trees? Is everything else starting to look a little...
The stones aren't from the same kind of mountain the Baylocks are made of. Like one of those stones is made of volcanic stone.
Huh.
So I'm going to try and approach her again. Not overly forcefully, but I'll just
All right, let's just...
step towards her and say, like, hey, excuse me, but
A raven bursts out of from where you didn't even see and starts flying around your face, making large raven sounds.
okay. I step back.
It lands on her shoulder with what looks like a rather large rat in its beak and just kind of flips its mouth up and swallows it whole.
And she was like, whoa, you don't want to approach her.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe this is our cue to exit.
Yeah, let's just take our nondescript. He just gestures over to the stone chest. He's like, looks over at Jack. He's like, Vistani, no, just let's go.
She kind of snaps her fingers at Jack and points to the fire pit she's been putting stuff by.
You want me to start the fire?
Yeah, let's go.
Fine. Grab some wood and make a little bonfire.
Puts the big iron kettle she has in there, puts a few of the things she has inside a pouch inside the kettle. It's a little like metal sieve. And just kind of walks away from it. Heads out into the woods.
Well,
So, these are the stones.
the part of me that likes living thinks that we should leave, but the investigator in me believes that we should stay.
She also just semi-invited us to her fire pit. You really don't want to offend Vistani.
We do know that at least some of the plants that she put in are poison, though. So let's all just keep that in mind.
Did you see what she put in specifically?
Yes.
No, her hands went very fast.
Okay, so she's making a poison stew, and maybe expecting us not to know.
I mean, or this is a very strange area. Maybe she's... I don't know. But I do know that I want to see what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Phineas, what do you take? You make of those stones here. This is like the painting right here.
Is there anything engraved on the stones? Are they marked in any way?
Yeah, some of them have that symbol that you saw in the fairy tale book.
Okay.
Did we ever describe the symbol in great detail?
I don't think so, actually.
The symbol on the main volcanic one, the one that caught your interest, that was on. It was a signet ring, right?
Yeah.
And listeners, if we already previously detailed it, I'm sorry. It's been weeks and I've forgotten. I didn't write it down, so just retcon it in your head. It's fine. You know not to expect too much from us. Is 3 crescent moons overlapping each other like they're all lined up in a row? Or from a certain perspective, cat's claws. But there's also like the vague kind of, like almost like sketched in outline of the moons behind the crescents. You know, because the moon's visible even when it's a crescent. You can see the rest of it in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to take a rubbing of that and tuck it into my notes next to the list of plants that she clipped from.
Sure. Yeah, so it's you guys. You were talking about something. What do you make of this?
If we should ditch her or not. And also the stone, yes.
The Philosopher's Stone.
I'd like to go around and clip off some of each of the plants that she also took cuttings from and put that in a pouch.
Go for it.
So, I ain't recognizing most of these, and from the looks of it, neither do you.
Yeah, some, but not all.
So I was like try standing where some of the people were in the painting, one thing in one position, the other position, seeing if there's anything like significant they would be seeing here, pointing maybe there's something cryptid in the.
The area you're standing in, which would be the perspective of the painter, is mossy. Like there's a lot of moss and like ivy growing around the area, like over top the ground.
Is it like clearing it a bit?
Carved stone.
Why don't we check out what's in that chest you got?
Oh, yeah, sure. Crowbar.
Okay, there is, what am I trying to say here? Rubber tree bark, like birch, like around the seam of it.
A rubber tree. Isn't that like a general thing?
Yeah, it is.
So this is something I wouldn't have really seen it before. Okay.
Yeah, it's when you open it, it makes like a sucking sound, like rubber, because you're breaking a seal.
Well, that's interesting.
We've just released evil into the world.
Oh no.
I think we did that when we started playing with a recorder.
And the evil goes like, no, I want to go back. I want to leave you.
Inside is a set of knives, cooking knives, it looks like. They're strange. They're very small, very thin, and very fine, almost like fish boning knives. But the blade is the blades look like they're stained with resin or sap.
Like whittler's tools or something, maybe?
Kind of, but very fine, very delicate, and very like the blades themselves would not stand up to like heavy cutting.
Very delicate work. Okay.
Yeah, and the handles are made of what's sort of looking for here. They're made of wood, but they're also inlaid with silver.
Is the silver in shapes? Like, is there a manufacturer's symbol on it, or?
If the knives have a manufacturer, as with all blades, it would be on the tang under the hilt, like under the handle. If you peel the handle off most swords, the actual blacksmith marked it with his symbol.
I'm hesitant to do that to these really nice knives, though.
I mean, we've heard someone that can fix them, so just like.
Oh, true enough, actually.
Yeah, those are those. There is what looks like a series of musical wind instruments. They're like long, slender flutes and other things that are like flutes, like ocarinas and whatnot, carved out of wood that seems lighter than they should be, and some of them are made out of coral. Which I don't know who here would know what coral looks like. Probably the guy from Australia.
Yep.
And yeah, there's other little like small things like brooches made out of like emerald in the shape of leaves. There's a child's cloak made out of what looks like silver thread and wool or like fur that's has like a hood and everything.
This is like genuine treasure.
Yeah, actually, it's an actual treasure chest full of treasure.
Is it possible to reseal it?
With some fire and heated tools, probably.
Oh, do you want something for the baby shower?
I agree with you that we should be checking for markings or any kind of symbols or identifying names or runes that are carved into anything.
There's also scrolls. Like there's a few like scrolls wrapped up that are like in a sealed tube.
Check those out. But I don't think we should take anything. Nobody
Really?
nobody just forgets about a treasure like this.
I mean,
it's a
it was-
buried treasure for a reason.
It was pretty clearly forgotten. I mean,
Was it?
I mean, how run down is this chest? Is it like some fresh and just tossed it in, or has it been like mossed over? Just like
No, I say we go through for information and then we reseal it and put it back. That's my vote. I'm gonna check out those scrolls. Is it a language that I recognize?
No, like when you open the case and take the actual scrolls out, they're made of the scrolls themselves aren't made of solid material. It looks like it's spun, so it's all very hollow and all very minimalist. So instead of it being made of like a thing of wood, it looks like it's like hollow scaffolding, but it's a very white bleached wood that makes it almost look like it's made of like coral or made of mother of pearl. So when you open it up, the paper is obviously paper, but it's a type of very light woven parchment, and it's very hieroglyphic pictogram-y written on it, but it's written in silver.
Is there anything I even recognize as not recognizing? Like,
You have knowledge supernatural, right?
yeah.
Roll that. What kind of experiences do you have in... how have you ever left Barovia?
No.
Really?
No, I'm
Crazy.
Yeah.
No,
I'm a native
fine.
Barovian, born and raised.
What about you, Kevin? Has your character ever knowingly left Barovia?
Actually, yes.
Where have you gone?
Borica and possibly the one on the other side. What's it called?
Ooh,
Yeah, I
snake
think something
eyes.
happens on Snake Eyes.
Orcus, the Demon King, shows up and kills you.
Because yeah,
That would be metal.
he spent like a year as a caravan guard.
Well, Borka... Oh, no,
So he's actually kind of been to probably any bordering country that Barovia can exit out to.
So Barovia exits to Borka, Invidia, Cardakas, Forlorn, Haslan, Nova Vasa, and it also connects to Sithicus and Invidia.
And Barovia's pretty small, so yeah, he probably would have gone to like several of those, even for just a few days.
All right. Well, you fumbled, and I'm trying to think of an interesting failure option, and none are coming to mind, so I'm just going to say you have no context for this in the future.
Okay.
Like, when you understand what this is, once you figure it out, your character just doesn't know about it. You can learn about it, but you have none of that nice connecting thread that let you make logical jumps. Like me and...
Probabilities.
No, not probabilities, you piece of shit. Like me and art theory. I know nothing about it at all.
Okay.
All right. I will let you make a... Is intelligence an attribute in this game?
Yes.
Smarts.
Smarts. I'll make you let him make a smarts roll.
Oh no.
Oh no!
D4 and a D6. Oh god, I got a success on the D6. So
Nice. Good old wild eye.
You've seen this in Sithicus. It's Elven.
oh shit. Okay. Technically, this belongs to me then. Yeah, it's Elvish.
So we've established that your character knows nothing about elves.
Okay.
That's not surprising given
It's not
the history of elves in Barovia.
To death.
To death. So, I don't know. I can't actually read it, but I recognize the little symbols written in silver too. Pretty elfy.
Is there a chance that there would even be anyone around who would know Elvish?
Oh man, plenty. Elves are from Sithicus, amongst other places. So, I mean, Sithican elves probably might be around here. Hell,
Are the
Well, I've
fairies,
never seen one. Quite
the-
frankly, I'm not sure they exist.
are the fairies related?
Depends on who you ask. Some will say we are all, fairies who are gonna snatch away your ugly little pink-faced children.
I was not quite clear on the distinction.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should take it then.
I guess. I mean, there's no choice here.
I mean, it is yours by birthright.
Yes, as an elf. I have.
As an elf, all elvish things belong to me.
I mean, it sounds about right.
Now that I'm looking at all this all does seem very elf themed, doesn't it? Like
A lot of it
less-
does, yeah.
Yeah. So
But I mean, that corroborates, in a way, what we came to find.
yeah,
The
exactly.
picture was an elf dealing with the person.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. Well, hey, we'll take apart this blade back home and that fort. Maybe we can find a wagon around there or something like that and drag this back without worrying about you having to carry this everywhere.
I mean, we have like 2 longer branches and carry between the 2 of us.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried about it. I just assumed you would.
Yeah. Tell you what, if we can't find anything out about this, we'll split the proceeds. Merchants will buy this shit.
Whoa, if we're going to take it, we should be taking it for further investigation. We shouldn't be parting with any of it.
Exactly. If nothing shows up, though, then, what are you going to do with this little child elf dress?
I mean, baby shower. It's like even in a few months.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, what if the child's dead? That's kind of bad luck, isn't it?
Yeah.
Making a child wear some other dead child's clothing.
That's how you get ghosts.
Let's hold off on selling anything.
Boy, what about the on the blade of these knives? There's kind of slick some of it off with his thumb. You recognize this at all? I'm not rubbing that sap.
I guess I can try examining with my science, medicine.
What did you do in the army in World War One? What was your character good at? Like, what was he
Field
doing?
medic, but he also had like proper medical education.
Okay. You weren't ever a chef or a cook.
I mean, you do everything in the army.
Fair enough. And you, what about you? Do you ever do cooking stuff?
I live alone.
That's a good answer. That means no.
Bachelor for life.
With enough time, you'll be able to figure out that the knives are stained from being primarily used for cutting and chopping vegetables and herbs.
Huh. Mundane, but interesting.
Like, not meat or bone work. They're too delicate for that. They'd tear.
Huh. These all seem like wedding gifts or something very fancy you'd buy for someone.
Yeah.
Back at the lab, we might be able to test this resin, see if we can determine what plants and vegetation it was
Okay.
used for.
True enough, actually.
Sure.
What if there's like a farm around here or something? Like maybe someone lived around here and left their valuables.
The Vistani, I guess, young woman comes back with that crow still on her shoulder, watching you.
Okay.
Or Raven, I mean. The Raven's watching you. Like, as she's walking, it's doing the owl thing, and its head's watching you as its body moves. She grabs the teapot and kind of just picks it up by its handle now that it's, hot and steaming and has been steeped, and just goes around to each of the standing stones and starts kind of pouring boiling liquid near the base of it.
Is that like a ceremonial thing? Yes, the person who has supernatural expertise.
Can I roll to see if I recognize that particular ceremony or?
What do you think she's doing? Maybe that'll help us. Like, what do you think might help us guide us to your character's jump? Because right now she's pouring it over the stonework, not the plants or anything, but the actual like standing stones and the anything that's made of the like more porous rock.
Did you say that these stones were smooth or were they covered in moss?
Some of them are covered in moss, and the moss is burning off of it when she does that. Like, it's just like shrinking and rapidly decaying off. The stuff that is uncovered, she's just like pouring it all over.
It's like a weed killer.
And then I'd assume that she's trying to preserve and maintain them. Or
Okay.
at least cleanse and purify. if
With
it's
that
got a
train of
ritual.
thought, then yeah, make your supernatural or science, actually. I think this is science. Might be alchemy. It's hard to say. It's fucking hard to say.
My science and my alchemy are the same. Success?
As the TV show Sherlock tells us, there are some types of teapots in the world that have to be constantly filled with boiling water and tea to keep the clay moist. If they're not used regularly, the teapot dries out, becomes brittle, and dies. In much the same way as you're observing her, it looks like she's keeping the stones moistened and used so they don't wither and crack. Like terracotta rock.
The rock she's pouring it on, are they all the same material?
More or less, yeah.
It's not the volcanic ones, are they? Or?
Yeah, she's poured on that too.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, or that liquid, that boiling liquid falls, the plant life just fucking dies. It eats it. Like, it rapidly browns and rots and like burns away from the area like acid.
Interesting.
So I guess she's keeping this preserved, so...
Holy site, maybe. I guess we could just ask her. I mean, she actually spoke to you.
Yeah, she's taking a shine to you.
Go seduce her. Your outsider ways.
Say anything?
Yeah, she's walking over to you specifically because without you guys even talking at her.
Hmm.
Out of character, do you still have cigarettes?
Yes. Well, I guess I made something like cigarettes from here.
She makes the gesture to you that you remember from the army where she's like, smokes, let's go.
Okay. I'm gonna smoke. Well, nice.
There you go. What are you doing here?
Checking this place out. Should we tell her?
Don't talk to them, talk to me.
Well, we got some old painting, well, sketch, and we were trying to figure out what's the significance of this place. And yeah, we found it. It seems to be matching perfectly to what we've seen from the, as I pull up the stencil of the thing. We're trying to figure out what's the significance of this place.
It's a grave site.
Oh,
Who died?
whose gravesite is it?
A bunch of Fey touched were massacred here a while back.
Oh my. We happen to know who's this person in the stencil? Like, what's the symbol of this marking?
Some elfin maiden. She was fleeing the borders of Sithicus. She was being hunted by a cad of some sort. She says cad, C-A-D. They're going to make a new life here, but ran afoul of a... This is around the time that... It's not important. They ran afoul of some people here.
That's unfortunate. Do you know when this happened?
She gives a time, which generally speaking would be exactly as old as Asher is. Give or take a few years.
Huh.
Okay. Anything else? Let's...
Trying to think of. So it seems like more than one person was killed here. Is each one of these a gravestone, or is it more of a memorial?
So yeah, is that more of a, I guess, what do you call them? Like a mass grave, or is it just each individual?
You walk around a bit, you'll kick up some of the bones.
Yeah.
None of them were buried. You
Mm.
need survivors to bury bodies.
Oh,
No, the birds picked them clean.
That woman survived.
she seems to be a survivor.
Was she the only one?
Was she of those people there, or was it just incidental to her being here? As in, is she one of the people the kind of people that was buried here? The woman in stencil. Is that her race or someone else?
Yes, she was elven with the rest of them.
Ah. Oh.
How did she survive?
She didn't much longer. If she's who I'm thinking she is.
You guys gotta speak up just a bit.
Sorry. Was she the only one who survived?
Was she the? Well, I think that was established that she was the only one that survived.
Otherwise, someone would have buried the bodies or done something other than just let them rot here. Ask her if there's a reason you're the only one she'll talk to.
Is there any reason why you don't talk with the others?
What do they matter?
Fair enough.
Besides, you're interesting.
Thank you.
You're not gonna like why you're interesting.
Oh.
But either way,
So why am I interesting?
because you know how to make more. Shit, I can't remember the brand of the cigarettes. What are they called?
Marlboro?
Or
Because you know how to roll Marlboros.
Yeah. It's good enough, I suppose.
She just kind of flicks it out into the stream and it gets swept away out of sight.
Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. She walks away with that kettle under her cloak.
So I'd say that's another link.
Yeah, we know that there were elves who came this way, that they were all killed, except for her.
What do we know about Scythican elves and like what happened to them? Do we know how shitty? Well, I guess if I've been to Scythicus as a half elf.
In recent news, in Invidia, which borders Scythicus, there is a sort of oh no, wait, no, that's totally different. Hi, I'm drunk. Scythican elves usually keep to themselves and stay quiet and don't really interact with folk. Everyone's like that. Everyone keeps to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But there were recent shakeups in the last few years. There's a keep, an old burned out castle, much like Castle Ravenloft, that said houses a horrific specter that like haunts the lands, and he had gone silent for years, and very recently, within the last couple of years now, the specter's returned and is haunting the lands once again. So Scythicus is in turmoil because they're dealing with that, because that specter is not mythic, he's very much real and very much a terror.
So people are probably fleeing Scythicus.
But it wouldn't line up really with these people. This would be when he was around before his disappearance.
Who killed these people?
Well, like I said, she was followed by a cad. Probably had a mob with him. Ain't the first time in history that someone's fallen for a lady, and when he didn't get her, well, shit happens.
We need to find out who that cad was.
Hey, you never know. Well, I mean, there's been murders around here. There might be a murder weapon.
I mean, if it was a significant event, maybe the Morning Lord's code would know something about it.
Dead elves, significant event.
I mean, you know, maybe there was some small incursion from Scythicus and they had to put it down, or...
I mean, that bit would be noticeable, yeah. Notable.
Yeah. So...
What do you say? We should go back then?
So does this confirm that that person in the engraving is your mother?
Could just be any elf who was here. They might have made camp and,
I mean...
slaughtered. They would have known each other, at least. At the very least.
Doesn't seem to be that many elves around, so the chances are pretty high. But...
I can't say I remember what she looked like, so,
I mean, small elven cloak, and that seems to be around the time when you were supposed to be born.
I doubt I was the only child in that group of elves. If, you know. Either way, don't think I really want to be around here anymore. Let's,
Yeah. Sounds good. Like to be getting back before it gets too dark.
Yeah, let's pack up and go.
yeah. Asher pulls up some of those exotic flowers that are around here and just kind of lays it in front of that one stone.
Perfect. Yeah, there are like tropical flowers here too. They're just growing in small amounts all around.
Yeah, he just kind of gathers a bouquet of like what he can find and lays it down.
Yeah, as you guys are leaving, if you kind of look at the outside going in, you can sort of see the small grooves and mounds and push-ups where there are definitely bodies all around you that you just didn't notice going in first time around.
Glad I didn't dig those up.
Dowsing for treasure.
But yeah, I guess just back to the fort to see if there's a cart or something, so we're not hefting this huge chest about.
You don't have to heft the chest, you just take the items aside. They're light.
True.
Still might be good to take the chest as well, just so we can check out the work.
It's sealable, that's actually really valuable. And also made from something really exotic, so...
The edge of the clearing, where the creek kind of leads out into the forest proper, there is like the remains of a cart that's been mossed over. The wood inside hasn't rotted, like it looks as new as the day it was made.
I'm quite confident I could fix that up.
Yeah.
Almost in perfect working condition if you just, clear the vines away from it.
That's what makes it so easy.
Let's go for that, yeah.
Sure. We load up the cart, head back home.
Okay, back home to check into this, find someone who can translate Elvish, and set a trap for the Mothman.
There's an episode of Mountain Monsters that deals with being the Mothman, and the trap builder's like, how am I going to trap a thing that flies? And they build a giant electric cage so that if once he gets in, he'll be shocked around and won't be able to use his... And they figure electricity will stop his psychic powers from hurting people. It doesn't work well. They don't catch the Mothman. He's a little too smart for it.
What is this?
Here, I'll pause. And we're back. So, you guys are heading back to Krezk.
Yes.
All right, you head back out of the forest onto the Old Svalich Pass, or the Old Svalich Road. The pass is much further ahead. And wheel your way back to Krezk. You were in there a little longer than normal, so sundown is like, it's on the way by the time you roll into Krezk. If you'd gotten lost on the way there, spending a night in the Old Svalich Woods.
Would have died.
Yeah, you would have. It would have been amazing.
New character, guys.
So we're all going to camp out together tonight, right? That's the plan?
Yeah, sure. I mean, people talk, but okay. Who's got the biggest place?
I mean, there's the inn, I suppose.
Well, I mean, you guys just rent rooms there. I mean, my place is my own, and we can set up a perimeter detection for the Mothman.
You got guest bedrooms, sure.
I have floors.
I'm used to floors. So yeah, we'll set up at his place.
All right. So you're at his place, staking out. What do you do? What's your plan as nighttime is going to be falling?
I want to set up a bit of a perimeter array around my place. As everyone knows, specters and ghosts and other such supernatural things all operate on a very common frequency. So I think if I electrocute some prods around the outside in maybe a bit of a hexagon, I should be able to detect if anything comes in. I also want to take that the herbs that I got from the clearing, and I'm going to boil my own tea, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to use it to mark the circle perimeter as well. It should, at the very least, clear away the foliage where I'm planting my little rods, and maybe have some other effect.
The next day, 5 dead cats.
You I think the reason we had nightmares is because you use witch magic to electrify this place.
Not witch magic, science magic.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what you call it. I mean, we were all here, and you were playing with that music box, and suddenly we're having nightmares and sleepwalking.
Frying your brain for the inside.
I will lodge it as a potential hypothesis.
And I mean, something started talking to us through that music box. You invited something in.
Oh. I'll do it.
You're going to try and boil poison like that was used in clearing?
Yes. Okay. Partially to put around there, but also... Oh, no, I didn't get a sample.
Pests.
You're gonna kill
yeah.
your grass.
Yeah. At the very least, I'll kill the grass.
Salt the earth, salt the earth so nothing will ever grow again.
You know, you could probably get a priest of Ezra to bless this place. I mean, not tonight, but it might make you a little safer.
And what I'm doing mechanically is I'm going to be setting up a Detect Arcana spell.
Nice. All right. Perfect.
How does that work?
I can do it for 5 hours. So we'll pick the hours closest around midnight, so 10 to 2, or 3, or whatever that would be, when we'd be in deepest sleep. And yeah, I'll have it go then. And I downsized my rules, so I will pop that open.
Yeah, sure. You'll set that up. And what are your plans for the night?
Do whatever the weird scientists say, I suppose.
Do you guys sleep?
Maybe you should give Asher some therapy.
I have therapy. Just hold this bottle I brought with me. just gonna hang up another horseshoe here. Prayer to Ezra, stuff like that. Sleep specifically not with a weapon nearby, because violent waking up. Gonna barricade some doors and stuff as well to see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, you tell me what's not gonna explode if I move it, and I'll cover up a few things.
Sure, I'll keep an eye to make sure that he doesn't damage anything important.
Perfect. Together you guys cleared an area.
Also, are we all gonna sleep, or should one of us stay awake?
I think we should stay awake going into the night, but then as we get close to midnight, we should all go to sleep. Because, again, I think that the Mothman is only going to come if we're all out. And we want him to come and set off the alarm, which will hopefully wake us up.
You're making an awful lot of assumptions about how this thing works, but...
That's how you learn things. You
I've
make
got a
assumptions
better
and then you
argument.
test them.
Sounds good enough.
All right. Well, night starts falling then. Eventually, you'll roll into midnight and 1 a.m. And the clouds are moving across the moon. There's like a quick cut to the moon with clouds moving over it very fast. Eventually, the sounds of the local wildlife kind of give way to the night.
Actually, I think I do need to stay awake. Sorry.
All right. So you stay awake?
Yeah.
And you guys are going to go to bed?
Yep.
All right. As you two are starting to nod off, on the floor or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. How does your alarm work? How does it alert people of things?
Well, that's why I was saying I think I need to stay awake. Because there's within the spell itself, there's no alarm. It's just a detection grid. So someone would need to be monitoring it.
what are you
in order
monitoring? Like, what is giving you this information from the setup you have?
I assume. Well, I've. Is there electricity in this setting?
Electricity is a real thing.
Okay, so I've.
That's what made Victor Mordenheim's monster that harasses the people of wherever the hell Mordenheim lives. It's Frankenstein's monster.
So I've electrified a perimeter that is created like a very small electric field,
Yeah.
enough that it would make the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
And
end,
whenever
but not enough that would
breaches
shock
it,
you.
it'll connect a circuit and
Yeah, connect to a circuit that will trigger wires running back to me that will ring a little alarm.
Perfect. Okay, so you two go to bed, and as you're falling asleep or whatever, which you wouldn't really know, you wouldn't really know to keep an eye out for that, but this is where it'll kind of sync up. Your alarm goes off.
Okay.
And
Wake them up.
right before the alarm is starting to go off, you guys and them, you all start to hear the sound of felt against felt, or legs against wood, or scratching, the sounds of hundreds of wings beating, just slowly and muffly. And that happens.
Okay.
Alarm goes off.
I wake them up as quickly as I can.
Whoa, what?
You were just starting to nod off when you're starting to hear the noise, and all of a sudden you're jerked awake.
Did you find anything?
Yeah, the alarm's gone off. So everyone quickly to a window. And I'll rush to a window and look out and see if I can spot anything out there.
You go and rush and open a window, and the window is carpeted in moths.
Well, this goes along with the larva remnants that we found earlier.
Holy shit.
So at least things are being consistent.
They're about the size of the back of your palm, with wingspan, and the patterning on the wings is very much a skull. Or more like what people in modern times would know as an alien head design.
Okay.
And the wings are inside the window. You can see the pattern. It's not their bodies. It's their wings are pressing up against it.
So, what's the contingency plan for when we actually find the Mothman?
I don't believe that there was a contingency or primary plan.
I mean, are they going to throw sorts of milk at him and try to appease him or something?
How are they pressed up like that? Where are their legs holding on?
All good questions.
Oh.
Are they at all the other windows?
Yup.
Well,
Can we just take a moment to appreciate how perfectly the system worked?
Are you kidding me?
Oh, I gotta change the music because it's not a weird sort of placid sound anymore.
Okay, well, nothing is coming into the house yet.
so count my bullets. That should be enough to pull myself down.
How dark is it in this area right now?
How dark is it in this area right now?
Like in your house?
Well, there's some electric light bulbs and candles.
Maybe they're attracted to
I assume that we had most of them off because you guys were sleeping, but we could turn them on.
Anything electric or that would be affected by EMF is flickering wildly.
Okay.
Asher's gonna go for a lantern and turn it up as high as possible while holding it near the window. Try and scare off the moths.
They are not scared off by light. That is the opposite of how moths work.
Move that out so that they skitter about closer.
They do move with light, though, with focused light.
Gonna try to see if I can move them around, motion them up, and motion them around enough that I can like see outside.
Eventually, they reorganize so that once like the light kind of shifts away, the different wing patterns and stuff make almost like the ghostly outline of a face you see in old timey photos in the background of a haunted mansion.
Lantern goes off.
I don't want to see this anymore.
Turn off every light in here.
My cat is just like
Your music box starts starting up.
Oh no.
The ghost one we built?
Yeah, the ghost one you built.
The ghost music box. Is it playing music or is it talking?
It's the part of it that talks. It's giving off an almost radio static. It's making clicks.
Like moth clicks? Or...
Yeah.
It's clicking, huh?
I mean, it doesn't sound like a Morse code.
It does sound like actual human Morse code. But
Okay.
it's all clicky.
Let's
I can decode it.
whatever in there is clicking, various notes or levers or whatnot. I'll try dousing them with ink and I'll start running some parchment under them.
Sure. The Morse code clicks that it's making are spelling out. I'm trying to think of how this would be possibly phrased.
Hello, friend?
No.
Welcome to your tape.
Welcome to your tape. Jesus.
Give us the scrawny one.
Cease activity. Stop. Resurrect dead. Stop. Precedence. Causation. Stop.
Yeah, I want to write this down.
And then it starts giving off what would clearly be like latitude, longitude coordinates.
Did you get all of that?
Yeah, I'm writing down in a little notepad.
And then what sounds like what to you sounds like something from the Dewey Decimal System. I assume that existed in World War I, listeners. Come on. But it's very clearly not the Dewey Decimal System. It's some sort of book filing system, though, that you as an academic are aware of.
Okay. Cease activity, resurrect death, proceed causation.
The lights get really bright and start flickering, like even the ones you've turned off, the electrical ones. And the last line is, "You can't kill a dead man. Stop."
I'm not trying to kill anybody.
And while the light bulbs burn out and...
No, they just go off
Okay.
with the after image of light in them, like how light bulbs work.
Yeah.
That kind of burned cigarette burn after image. After that, you guys turn on the lights, like the lights go out and then flicker back on and the moths are gone.
That was weird.
That seems to be maybe their way of telling you to cut out your shit.
My shit.
Gestures at the electrical everything.
Witch magic.
The witch magic.
I assume the whole cease activity referred to looting and pillaging and stealing.
I mean, this is technically mine. You know, inheritance.
Stop everything, I suppose. Go back to your lives. Although resurrect dead.
Maybe it was telling us to stop doing what we're doing now so we can focus on what we should be doing, which is resurrecting the dead.
So stop sleeping and commit heresy. Okay.
What?
You copied this down like with ink and stuff.
Yeah.
If you two do a science roll, what do you got for skills, Peter?
Knowledge science.
If you guys are looking for more detail and conspiracy theory bullshit, as I'm sure you are at this point because it's fun,
Absolutely.
let's you guys give a roll and see who gets a raise. With science.
You know.
Let's see what he gets. Go for it. Hey, a raise. Look at that. You two together. Certain parts of the Morse code are more emphasized than others. Like it looks like they were hammered a few times extra for some reason. And if you guys connect the dots, so to speak, there's a code within the Morse code.
What does it say?
Don't sleep.
That's interesting.
Something that just fucking with us here.
Or maybe something is telling us one thing and a second entity is trying to help us in the background.
I don't think we can go that long without sleep, so I don't know. What if every time we fall asleep we start going back to that place? Or more shit happens?
We can sleep in shifts.
I mean, that's not getting around the whole don't sleep thing, but I mean...
It's not sleeping for as long as possible.
Huh. Maybe a way to start. Alright. Is there a residue, like, from the moths outside? Or, like,
yeah.
they said that they were... Okay.
There's insect remains all over his house.
What was the message? Cease activity.
It's in the notes.
I don't see it in the notes.
Maybe refresh your page. Here, I'll pause. Yeah, there is residue of like pupa pods and like dead moths around your house.
Any of the silk strands?
Yep.
I'll take a sample of that and compare it against the earlier sample. Is it identical? Same?
When you start looking around your house, on a nearby tree on your property where the lines were, this is a fairly broad, almost birchy tree. There looks like to be a flash shadow on it.
Of?
The outline of a man that is distorted by large, spreading out things coming from his back.
Okay, Mothman.
Why do we have to aggravate the mothman?
I mean, or an angel.
What's the chance of doing that?
I mean, keep your hopes high, you know? Hey, where would moths stay during the day when they're not active?
No.
I mean, caves opened up, yeah? All the ice melting.
Caves, the forest.
Maybe it just let out some really evil moths.
Inside of a tree?
Or inside a tree, huh? I mean, a lot of moths. I ain't seen one that's like as big as a hand before. That's...
No, there's definitely something supernatural afoot here.
That's your always assumption. At default.
So what's our next step here?
When did that priest of the Morning Lord mention that her transcribing would be done? Translating? No.
I mean, we're already
She said it would take her the better part of a week.
Yeah.
checked the knife. That's what we wanted to do.
Yeah, the knives. Let's take one of those apart.
Sure.
Yeah, alright, you remove there's like a thing called a thong. It's like a leather kind of wrap around the handle, and you remove the actual handle, and the tang of the blade is there. And yeah, there is a imprinting on it. It's blacksmith sim heraldry. You don't recognize it from the area.
Guess we can mark it down regardless, though, just in case. Traders might recognize it.
Yeah.
Mm.
We could always head to the merchant area and show it around.
Maybe let's not show the knife around. Let's show the symbol around.
Fair enough. Looks pretty valuable. People might ask questions.
Yeah. Especially if you have it. No offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, who did you steal it from?
Stealing.
So we'll make a little sketch of the symbol.
Sure. Yep, you have a copy of it.
Okay. Is there anything else we want to follow up on?
Well, we need to find someone to translate the other language now.
How old are you, Asher?
How old am I? I have that written down, actually. One moment.
One moment, please.
I've copied that down.
Also, elves age weird, so even half elves. But I think he's. Let's see. Come on. Things are taking a moment to load here. 30-ish. We'll say 30-ish.
So certainly not out of the realm of conceivability that there would be a village elder, possibly multiple village elders alive, who remembered around the time when you were born and might know about this massacre of elves.
I was raised by the Ezrite Church. I was cared for by them for like 10 years.
So we might know something about what happened then, where you were found or what have you.
Maybe, yeah. They took in my mother for a short time before she passed away.
Exactly.
And then you said Elvish is common enough that we might find a merchant who can speak it.
If we find someone from Pacificus, elves keep to themselves, like in most places.
But anyone we would trust would let him look at the scrolls.
I mean, depends on what they say. They could say something super incriminating, but we've already been showing them around enough of that, what worse can they do?
Maybe we should find someone from Sithicus. Well, first see if we can find someone from Sithicus, then second, suss them out a bit. Let's not show them anything right away. Let's get a feeling for if we can trust them or where their loyalties might lie. Because if we get someone who could translate those scrolls, that would be a huge boon.
Else I'd say Vistani. They travel around enough that they might know.
But would they deal with us?
I mean, they might deal with one of us.
That's true. The last Vistoni seemed to take a shine to Jack.
I suppose they like the cigarettes.
Yeah, if you bring a gift or something, or a bribe, a sizable bribe.
Is there any interaction with Vistoni? Do people ever do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to pay the Vistani for the elixir that allows you to leave the village of Barovia. You can go in all you want, but if you leave without paying the Vistani for their elixir, you choke and die instantly.
I think we should head to the Vistani first. Try all three of these things there.
We know the way. It'll take less time than before.
I'm less worried about one of them turning rat than I am a random merchant.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, Strahd likes him enough. Why not?
The Devil Strahd.
Do we know of a nearby Vistani camp?
You could pretty much suss out where one might be.
Yeah.
They're not reliable, but you can head in the right direction. The old Svalich road has many off roads you can take that'll sometimes lead to glades.
Otherwise, we know where one was. So.
And I assume that their preferred currency is just currency?
Yeah, money.
Okay.
Cash.
Don't write them a check.
Then should we head out to do that?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, so you're gonna go and find the Vistani.
Yeah. I'm going to take my mule with me,
All right.
just so I can carry more of my stuff.
When you guys, get your stuff together and get on your mule and start heading down the old Svalich Road, probably 2 hours on the road, there's a turnoff that leads into kind of one of the resting areas that people usually take on the way, and it looks like it has like there are signs that people are camping nearby. Like some of the trees have like cloth and flags marked on them. Good sign.
Okay.
Yeah, let's head that way.
All right. You turn off, and it's a small rest area. There are logs that have been cut in half and set up around here. A fire pit that's been carved out. It's what traveling merchants and stuff going through do to bed down for the night and defend from the awful things in the forest. The area is empty. There are no Vardos. There are no wagons or people here. But there is that young Vistani girl at the fire pit.
Oh, good. We already know what she likes.
There is a murder of ravens in this area around her, like in the trees and sometimes on the logs watching you guys.
So is it all Vistani here, or just her?
Just
and then
her.
there's-
Just her and a murder of ravens.
And no other people?
Nope.
Are were creatures commonly known about, or
Yes,
whispered
where
about?
creatures are known about, they're vampires. Men who turn into bats or wolves or crows and murder you.
And here, everything is a werewolf, right?
What?
Everything is a vampire.
Everything is a vampire?
Everything relates back to the vampire myth. It's a cultural touchstone. It's in the middle of the day, I'm going to point out, though, here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but what I mean is if someone, what we would call a werewolf, they call a version of a vampire?
Yeah, werewolves are just vampires. They're people twisted by Satan to turn into monster animals to kill you.
Okay.
Who eat your flesh and drink your blood.
Maybe you should offer a cigarette.
Hey, would you like another cigarette?
No.
Alright.
What are you looking for?
We found some old elven texts and we're looking for someone to translate those. Happen to know anyone that might?
I would.
Who might that be?
Why do you want it translated?
We're following the lead. Trying to figure out what's going on. I do find something.
A lead for what?
Well, we're trying to figure out whether one of our friends here has an inheritance or there's something connected to the woman in the relief, who seems to be probably his mother.
What would you do with that information?
Find closure, I suppose.
We're going on an emotional journey?
I mean,
Thought we were trying to restore his rightful inheritance.
I don't even know what that is. It's maybe it's the mine.
A bullet.
I mean, probably at this point.
There are woods folk who travel through Krezk. It's a trade town. Why won't you go to them?
I guess we should.
You ain't attached to the town. We can trust you more than we trust them.
Yeah, see that there's some conspiracy going around, some weird people that aren't from around here doing some things.
Orkans.
What do you know of it?
Oh, seems that there's some Orkan around in the mine.
Yeah. Working with the merchant company to try and buy it out from under the town.
Has some old crests in it from times when the Orkans were put down around here.
The information you're looking for on those documents. won't be much use to you until you get a bigger picture of what's going on. If you don't gather more information quickly, you'll be dead soon.
Huh.
The mayor is tracking you.
Does
Figured as
the
much.
mayor perhaps...
She did not pronounce the word mayor. She said a different word that sounds similar.
Oh,
Like the meh.
am I familiar with that word?
It's Old Luktar, or Old Baylock for Mothman. But it's not something that's commonly known. Like when you sound it out in your head in your own language, you're like, meh, oh, Mothman.
Okay.
The Calamity Omen.
Why is the mayor looking for us?
It precedes.
I think it knows we're supposed to die, or shit.
Well.
Mines. Fuck.
You, Giorgio, think it precedes. It alerts or tries to avert. You can't hear it.
So it ain't trying to harm us, it's trying to alert us, let us know, or is it just watching?
You ever been in a storm?
Plenty of times.
A lightning storm? A thunderstorm?
Ain't an uncommon thing.
You ever see flocks of dead birds wash up in the river?
Spirovia.
Do you know the connection between a storm killing a flock of birds and why no one can hear the mare?
No.
Do you know how a fish knows how to get to the place it was born in?
No, what's that word? Instinct?
She looks over at you, Tinkerer. Something like that. How does a climber find his way back to his camp?
A map?
How does he know how to read the map?
Learning?
If you had a map, how would you get back to Krezk?
I'd walk there.
If you didn't know where it was?
I'd read it.
How?
You need to figure out where you are first and then navigate
How?
by the landmarks,
It's nighttime.
star charts.
Memory?
No stars. No memory. You haven't been there.
Shit. Bad at these games.
She's actually looking pointedly at you. Because you should know this, she thinks. What do a bird, what do a fish, and what do a mountaineer all have in common when they try to get home?
Magnets?
Now she's looking at it. What's a magnet? Explain it to the class.
It's a piece of metal. I don't know how to explain magnets. It's one of the
It's like an attraction, isn't it?
It points north.
It's an attraction, it's just something that happens. It's a force.
That you can't see,
Mm-hmm.
that you can't hear. What happens when an iron gate is hit by lightning?
It like
Magnetize this, I suppose.
pulls it in. It's what's that word you mentioned it once? Conductor or
I think iron is conductor.
She doesn't know much about magnets either. She knows the basics here.
Okay.
She's trying to guide you through this best she can. fish, a compass, birds, and the mare. They all have something in common and why no one can understand it.
They all fixate on a single point.
Has the mare been able to communicate with you recently?
Yes.
What makes you different from every other thing it's ever given an omen to that have fallen on deaf ears?
We're trying to figure out what's going on so that people wouldn't.
I mean, your electrical tools and whatnot. Electricity. You're the only one who has the stuff it can communicate through, maybe.
It's electric?
Something like that. You can hear its omen where others cannot.
Do you know what it wants us to do?
I can't hear the mare.
It already told us what it wants. Don't sleep. Resurrect dead. Which, we ain't doing.
Well,
But other leads as well.
You don't mess with dead things.
She kind of puts out her hand for the papers.
Oh, yeah. Just gonna hand that scroll over.
Wedding documentation.
What are the names on it?
I don't have a name preloaded. That's at this stage of the investigation. I don't have the name preloaded, but I'll give it to you.
Okay. Is it?
is it
An elven maiden and a Barovian man, boy.
Does it mention what each is getting? What's the word?
Each other's eternal undying love.
Do I recognize the family name as someone who's like,
Local.
No, actually, like you don't recognize it in that it's a common name. What you recognize of it is that it's very old, like out of use.
okay,
So these were wedding gifts, I assume, then. Everything they had in that chest.
No, this was a couple eloping.
Oh.
chest might not be from the same time.
There's more on it as well, but they're written in moon runes. A forest dweller trick.
Is there a way to read those?
Went into the same moon they were scribed under.
Those documents we have, they have like star charts and what, don't they?
In the etching.
Yeah. Figure out the face of the moon. Huh, funny. The moon was what was on the stone as well.
The moons on that stone are not the moons of Barovia.
What do you mean?
You've been to Sithicus.
Aye.
Next time you're there, watch the sky at night. You might notice there's something different about the moons.
Moons. Alright.
Go to Darkon on the Solstice Eve. You might notice it doesn't have one.
But that don't make sense. The moon should be the same no matter where we go, right?
Says who?
I mean, that's just how it works, don't it?
Maybe ask the learned folk.
It makes sense, right, that the moon's the same everywhere.
It can vary from location to location, or so I'm told. I've actually never been outside of Barovia to test it myself.
What about you? You're an outsider. Moons are the same, right?
The moon in Barovia looks nothing like the moon from Earth.
Well, it looks different where I came from. But that might be just a different place.
Like on Earth, it looks like a normal moon. Here in Barovia, it's closer and it's way more dramatic. Way more dramatic.
It's supermoon every day.
Kind of, depending on the mood of the place, depending on how dramatically appropriate it is. There's like swarms of bats that'll fly in front of it, like a fucking Abbott and Costello vampire movie.
Well, see, there's not a giant face on it, grinning.
Yeah, no, there's not the giant face with the rocket ship in its eye. We don't live in 1930s film Renaissance land.
That'd be so quaint.
So you say that we need to find out more about what's going on here before this will make sense. What do you mean by that? Can you point us in a direction? Is there something that we should be investigating?
The mayor's trying to talk to you.
I mean, we got some information
Mayor's
from
trying
him.
to talk to us.
He'll lead you to someone who... He might lead you to something a little more coherent.
Do you know what he means by raised dead?
The mayor is like the outbacky here. His language is not quite the same.
Okay. So we need to try and talk.
She didn't say outbacky because that was me slurring trying to talk about the Australian outback. She said he's like the conscript here. Because you're from Australia, prison land. You were conscript in the military. People riffing on you for your heritage.
I mean, we already got a way for it to talk to us, unfortunately, but I guess
We need to talk back. Sorry.
Want to do that?
I think so. We need to communicate with it.
Well, we got away from reading that music, and that's what kind of kicked this off. I think we have a way of putting our own words into that, playing it out.
Well, we have some coordinates. We should check the maps and see where they lead, and maybe there's some library with some books there to find.
Yeah, if either you can read a map.
I'm sure we can manage that between us.
Yep. Okay, so where do those coordinates from the Mothman lead?
If you're reading them right, the way they kind of check out, just as you're kind of doing head math, they're very local because they're in feet rather than in like miles or anything, and they point to the Church of Ezra or the Church of the Morning Lord.
Perfect.
No, wait, I'm drunk. That can't be true. That can't be true at all. I'm sorry.
What's wrong with that?
Because I fucked up my own puzzle I gave you. That's why it can't be true.
Oh, Devin.
Yeah, I know. No, the coordinates, you don't have a frame of reference is the problem. You need to know what map you'd have to use for them to sync up.
Okay.
Well, it seems they're pointing us towards some library, and there are only so many of them around.
Check them all out, I guess.
So, yeah. One would be those tax records. The other one would probably be in some church, because I don't think there's any library around. In Krezk, at least. So, yeah. Either those would be the tax records or it's either the church. You probably have a wild guess, I suppose.
Yeah, sounds like a good next step.
Alright.
Yeah, that's probably all we need here.
You head back to Krezk then?
Yeah.
After you kind of get out of sight of the clearing, like back on the old Svellich Road, all those ravens take off into the sky, and kind of like a couple hundred of them just take off across the sky. guys head back to Krezk.
We're still going to try and talk to the Mothman.
I mean, fair enough.
I mean, if you're gonna receive the Morse code, you could always try sending it like a radio.
That's what I'm thinking. Send it in reverse.
Also, if it's like
Electric
warning,
transmission.
if it's warning of doom rather than just actively causing it, then it seems like it's a good thing to approach for answers.
It seemed pretty powerful, and from the terrible stories I've heard, I think if it wanted to just outright destroy us, it just would outright destroy us.
Okay, we head back to town.
You're in Krezk.
So, Church of the Morning Lord?
Yeah, we can always go back there, check out that library.
Yep.
Church of the Morning Lord is open to people. It's, turning into the afternoon now. Slipping into evening soon.
Okay. We don't really know what specifically. I guess
We have the codes for it.
Codes, yeah.
See whether that gets us anything
Oh,
useful.
right, that.
Also, we should figure out this whole moon phase thing for the coding in the wedding document, if that's what it actually is.
That should be relatively simple, because we can look at the drawing of the people meeting in the clearing and check out what phase the moon is in there.
Issue is, if it was under another moon, as she said, do we have to be in the proper country for that?
But we think the drawing was of this clearing.
Hmm.
So it should be the same moon. But yeah, I see your point. As for this number thing, you think that that's a system of classification for books?
Yep, does look like one.
So even if this isn't the right library, the resident librarian might be familiar with it. They might know where that's used.
If it doesn't link to anything here, then, there are only so many libraries around here, so, they could probably guide us somewhere else where this would be applicable.
Alright, well, let's start here then, at least. There's only so many libraries in Krezk, so...
Yeah, so we approach the librarian and ask whether they're using a system like this, I suppose, and whether there's any book corresponding to this.
Like back to the Church of the Morning Lord?
Yeah.
Yeah, that woman you usually interact with isn't here. She's doing other stuff. She's out of town.
She has a life.
Right. There's a younger man. He's Barovian, obviously. Has a hook hand, basically. And just kind of... Oh, hi. I've heard of you three.
That's nice.
Good things, we hope.
Yes. How can I help? I'm afraid the work you requested to be done won't be completed for a little bit yet.
We're patient people. We're actually here about a specific document, possibly.
Oh, okay.
I guess that code, which...
Yeah, we're looking for a book referenced by this number. Are you using this system by any chance? Or is that some other library?
He kind of takes and looks at it. Oh, yeah, this is familiar. It's how... It's, this is familiar.
It's how you organize the books, like
No, yeah. It's how we file our maps with the cartographers.
Oh, perfect.
It's how we check to make sure we have up-to-date, routes and stuff.
Huh.
So, which map would this be referring to?
Let me take a look. It's older.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll just wait for that.
Yeah, he'll come out later on with an actual map case.
Okay.
To bring it to a bigger table. And it's yeah, it's this one.
Ooh.
What's it a map of?
Barovia, the area, but it's marked specifically for monasteries that still have people in it, so we can send mercy missions to make sure they're okay and have food.
You said that this marks the changes that they make in maps. Like these are additions markers?
Yeah, we want to make sure that, it's as up to date as possible. Like some of these monasteries, this one's older, so a lot of these are, used to get like people to check in on them because they're fairly isolated. This one's at the top of a mountain. This one's in a cave system that still has like a building built into it. But a lot of these have been abandoned. Like some of these go back, like this map is from long before my time.
Would we be able to see the map that immediately preceded this one and the one that immediately comes after?
Yes, but we'd have to go into a different room because they all have actual tables for maps.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, all right. Brings you to a different area where they have like, easels.
So I'm going to examine the maps and try and discern what exactly the changes were between the different editions.
Okay.
So what changed from the last map to the number that we had, and then what went away.
All right.
I'm just, using the coordinates we got to find out where the quest marker is at.
My God. So on this map, it's an empty area along, it offshoots the Svalich Road into like an empty part of mountain terrain. You checking the one before it, there's a monastery there.
Okay. I'll ask the young worker who's with us if he knows.
No.
Are there any?
There are
identified-
hundreds of monasteries.
Right. I'm gonna mark that down.
Yeah.
Just know
You
where
could
it is.
totally get a location.
You wouldn't know if it's still active or abandoned or.
I mean, if it's not on the map.
Okay.
Like, even on the one you guys have, the road to it and the path is not on the map anymore, but because you checked the one before, the route's still there.
How far is it from Krezk?
Oh, it's far. It's like, it's on the eastern border of Barovia. And actually, it's in line of sight to Castle Ravenloft.
Oh shit. I'm pretty sure we all know to avoid that area too. Are there many townlands between Krezk and this route?
One or two.
Okay, so if we did
I know
travel...
Tusseldorf is on the way. It's
Okay.
by the old Svalich Pass where the gates are.
So if we were to travel there, we would just have to make a non-stop trip with camping.
Yeah, you could lay over.
Okay. That would actually be a safe travel, relatively, if we just travel during the day.
I mean, Barovia itself isn't that big, really.
Hell, we could just
It's
walk
not
alongside a caravan.
It's not big, but you have to snake through the mountain passes.
Yeah.
And that is the real trick.
Assuming that these Scythican elves were refugees, would this monastery have been located along a plausible route that they would have taken?
No.
And it's too far away from Scythicates. It's
Yeah.
like the opposite end of the map from it.
Opposite end of the map.
Sounds like they kind of just got here and were immediately wiped out. They stopped to camp.
Yeah.
What about Scythicus?
Oh, you know anything about...
Sorry, I'm just assuming you might have mentioned it to
Yeah.
each other. Sorry, I jumped the gun there, but we could say you did.
No, that's fine. We could be saying it out loud.
Mass graveyard from
Ooh.
elves from Scythicus. Out in the woods. You heard
Yeah,
about
by
this?
town, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the prelates talk about it.
Really?
Not recently, but they mentioned places we kind of want to avoid or maintain to make sure they're not disturbed.
Yeah.
It's something we have to warn the fishers about when they have to break up the rot flow from the Lake Krezk.
Tried to avoid the area, and he
Just leave it alone. It's a sacred ground.
I see. It's a good thing we didn't disturb anything while we were
Oh.
there.
Were the these prelates? How many of them were alive when that massacre took place? Like when they speak about it, is it living memory for them?
When I spoke to Prelate Song, she told me that it was the site of a massacre where I think Strahd the Third dueled a blackguard that came hunting elfin maidens.
Huh. Some sort of cad.
Dark Knight. He was harassing Fort Lorne, I think.
Okay. I mean, that kind of adds up with what we've heard before.
Yeah, it does.
Do you have any specific records we could look at, or?
I don't have any. I'm sorry. It's something the older prelates know, and they're out.
Out where?
With spring breaking, we like to go to the smaller kind of homesteads and check in on the people who live on the mountains and in the passes and make sure everyone's doing all right with the spring ice flow breaching. It's harder to do in the winter, but now that the crops are starting to be planted and now that we can start to freely eat the preserves and whatever we saved during the winter, we can start to go on longer trips.
You said that there was one prelate who was speaking about it to you?
Yeah, Prelate Song. She's one of the elders of our member.
Do you know specifically where she is?
She was taking the Old Svalich Pass and then heading down the Warlock's Road to see how the refugees were doing by the trip from here to Haslan.
Honestly, something like that, we could just wait till she's back.
Shouldn't be any later than but she should be back by solstice.
Or we could go and help her out.
There's always that. There's always the monastery. No, the other way. It all depends. I mean, I know what happened to my mother, roughly. It's not like it's a big mystery.
Yeah, you make good sense. I agree.
Yeah, the more important thing is figuring out this whole, these coordinates.
Well, thank you for your help.
Yeah, I'm glad I could help. I don't know why. Yeah, it's funny. I just thought of it now. Just the Sithicus reminded me of it. It was years ago. Song told me about it.
Yeah. Well, not many Sidican elves come through.
Yeah, no, not a lot.
Yeah. Once he's gone, it's just kind of like, yeah, we should really focus on what this foreteller of doom and all that, told us. I care about what happened to these Sithican elves, because obviously that has something to do with my inheritance, but I'm worrying more about this whole dead thing.
For context, since you guys live in Barovia, Strahd III was like 200 to 300 years ago. You're on Strahd the 8th right now.
So that doesn't match up with the other timeline where someone was 30 years ago when elves were. Huh.
Unless she just came here and happened to just go into that burial ground.
Maybe. That sounds like, it sounds like two specific events where something.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Vistani that made the timeline? And
Also,
as you were saying, the Vistani are sort of out of time things.
Also, that
was 30 years
I
ago.
think that was an in-character
that
thing.
name that was in the marriage, it's a name that's fallen out of use. It's so old that I don't even recognize it. But we're talking about her coming. That's like 30 years ago. That's not long enough for a name to fall into disuse and be forgotten.
Yeah, unless it's like a noble family that just kept the name, died with her. But an elven woman having a noble name like that, an old name like that, would probably be from her husband's side if it was a man, a human.
Long peg.
So we want to check out the monastery?
I mean, if you guys are willing to make that trip.
It's a compelling lead.
So I know you don't do much around here. I don't mean that in an offensive way. I mean more in a...
I don't mean that in a me sort of way.
I mean, you can take your studies anywhere. It's you, like, you're the doctor here. Well, there are other doctors, but...
Oh, if need be, I guess I can take my practice out on the road.
I mean, heading to that area past Tusseldorf should only take, like, at most 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah. Exactly.
At most, because, round trip time, delays. The path is sometimes like, during spring, this path sometimes gets flooded with like like snow flow. Like the snow breaks off as it's melting.
Everything floods a bit.
And then people, have to clear away. Sometimes old trees rot into it. But like, Barovia's not big. It's like 3 or 4 6-mile hexes across at most.
Yeah, I ain't traveled across Barovia for a while now. Yeah, why don't we plan for that then?
Okay.
End of the week, maybe, after we get those documents.
After we have a few chats with the Mothman.
Yeah, that too. Maybe once we're out on the road, we can actually sleep without all that going on.
And speaking of that, are we going to take turns sleeping?
I'd say that's our best option right now.
Okay. With what you guys are going to do now, if you guys like set up the same type of alarms and whatever, you're not going to get the sleep you need, but you won't drift off into Nightmare Cave Town, which is exactly where you're headed if you guys fall asleep together.
That's fun.
Yeah, like if you accidentally do it, you 3 of you will drop right back in.
No, I think only one of us is sleeping at any given time.
Yeah. You can stagger it out, but it's tricky because you guys are a lot more sleepy at night now.
Coffee, drugs.
Coffee.
Coffee doesn't exist, do you think?
It's Egyptian.
Fair. I mean, there is Egypt land, but it's not going to get...
That's exactly where you find it. Or export it.
That's pricey. We're not going to be buying coffee.
No, you cannot get cafe.
Let's use heroin instead.
Yes, let's
There's
do heroin.
ghosts in your blood. Here's some heroin.
I don't know if that really has powers to keep you awake, though.
I think taking shifts is enough for us to survive, at the very least.
You guys feel some sort of ethereal pull on yourselves. There's something wrong. There's something out of order with your lives. You try to reach out to the Mothman?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that before we break, because then we can start with you guys on the road again.
Sure.
And the actual monastery has something there that will, like, not a thing, but it's like there's stuff at the monastery that'll actually
Blow your mind.
not blow your minds. It'll help put some of this into focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're actually on your way to more unraveling.
So as it is, we've got a lot of branches.
Yeah, you got a lot of bits, and now you got to start chasing leads down. It all connects together in various ways.
Leads or squirrels.
All right.
So I'm going to use my power card to do this.
Your power card. All right. So, listeners,
Arcane Inspiration.
Savage Worlds has a deck of cards where you like deal them out and stuff, and they do things. And Ravenloft has a special rule where everyone starts with a card that they draw randomly from the deck, and they let you alter things in the game. So, what Tyler has played is Arcane Inspiration, which lets him use one of his arcane powers for free, or use a power he doesn't have. What are you using?
The power I don't have is Speak Language.
Oh my Christ!
Yeah. And I'm going to be using that to sort of reverse my contraption and have it emit electrical impulses in a Morse code frequency.
You build a radio. Smart.
Yes, a radio.
Like a ham radio.
Yeah. Very crude, but hopefully it'll allow me to communicate with a Mothman.
You set up like poles outside with wires running across them and into your ham radio, and yeah.
And I put out a lot of wool for the moths. Just saying no to town.
Asbestos.
Trying to be a good,
Asbestos.
good host.
I'm not comfortable with the amount of asbestos in these gloves. But yeah, that's what the Vistani girl was trying to lead in the direction of. Electromagnetic signals. The things that teach birds and fish how to go back to where they were born and navigate, and how magnets and stuff works. That's what she was trying to put you onto, but she didn't quite have the words for it.
I don't think any of us had the words for
Yeah.
it given now.
Well, the theories
We
exist.
grasped around there.
The theories exist in Mordenshire and that place with Frankenstein's monster that I don't remember the name of.
Because Frankenstein's, yeah.
Right? I don't remember its goddamn name. Not Mordenshire or Mortentish. That's gonna make me crazy.
We can look it up after, though. I mean,
Furbrick, Invidia, Valacan, Morden, Damontla, Falcovnia, Lamordia. Oh, it might just be... Yeah, no, it's Mordenshire.
right. I think we've been there before in another name.
Definitely.
Yeah, the place that was full of Frankensteins. We fought like a toxic monster.
Yeah, the horror of Dread Mountain.
Shit.
There's a mountain where Adam is what he's actually called, even though that's not what Frankenstein monster's called. That's just something people who don't know Frankenstein like to call him. But he's actually called Adam in this.
Okay.
Adam lives on a mountain called either Mount Doom, Mount Dread, or Death Mountain, depending on the translation.
Hospitable.
Right? So yes, you have a ham radio.
Yeah.
With electrical signals and free electricity, and much like conspiracy theorist fillings, you're trying to pick up a signal from spies.
Feels like the olden days.
It kind of does. All right. So, how do you attract the mayor?
Well, I assume I set this up. Well, I put out a lot of wool for the moths to start with. I don't know if that will attract the mayor, but that's what I've got to go on. And then we set up the contraption again, and I guess maybe we'll have the two of them go to sleep,
That's
Yeah,
the way.
he's
That's the way.
asleep.
Yeah.
because that's when he showed up last time.
All right. There's a sound of radio tuning and signals being picked up. And you start hearing interference over the radio as the alarm that you set goes off.
Okay.
So you guys are awake as you hear the radio tuning and there's static.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear pitter-patter over the radio, like chatter. Like almost like chanting in monotonous tones, which... Frank? Jack. God damn it! It's impossible to remember the name, and it's so
Back in
simple.
jail and up the hill.
Yeah, it sounds like ritualistic religious chanting in a backwards language. Jack, you recognize this as broken English, speaking out like military directions and like air patterns, like what the fuck am I doing? Like it's like pilots speaking from their plane.
Okay.
But it's like broken and in clips and stuff to the signal tuning.
Who you want resurrect? Stop.
Hello? Hello? Watson,
Hello?
come here. I need you.
Hello, who is this? Stop.
Stop.
Nothing.
Operator, please stand by.
Is there anything going on outside?
There's a man outside.
Covered in silver
Okay.
things moving around.
Just at the periphery of the light. Large silver eyes and glowing wings. Looking at him gives you a nosebleed, and your ears bleed.
Fuck. That ain't an angel.
I mean, have you ever read the Bible?
Have you ever seen an angel?
Have you read the Bible? You hear
There's a reason God sent his mom down instead of angels.
Have you ever met an angel?
People were much more comforted by Mary than they were an angel.
Don't look out the window. Just
Operator, how can I direct your call?
I'm looking for the Maher.
Please hold. Do you have a message for him?
Who would he like us to resurrect? We're trying to help.
Sir, I'm afraid the side effects preclude you sleeping or taking this with alcohol.
Okay, we won't sleep. What does he mean by causation?
I'm sorry, have you set your clocks right?
What time is it?
Now, they say in Australia they run backwards because the magnetic field's inverted. Sometimes 12 is preceded by 1, but sometimes it's preceded by 11. That's just part of the manual.
Who is the dead man?
I'm afraid there aren't any obituaries out today. Try again yesterday.
Anyone else have any questions?
I don't even understand this language.
Oh no, this is Baylock.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I should have specified.
Oh no, it's fine. For some reason,
After the nonsense chanting, it switched over to Baylock. The woman does not have an accent you recognize, though. It's a Jersey accent.
coordinates. Ask for coordinates. I don't know specific coordinates. Just ask for coordinates. I'm not speaking directly to it.
I don't want to talk to you.
It's superstitious.
Can we get some coordinates?
Sir, your parcel's been delivered to your mailing address. You have to pick it up on your own, though. We don't do delivery to door.
Those assholes.
All right. Well, thank you. Enjoy the wool.
Thank you for calling customer support.
Did we pick up the wrong thing? Is this working right?
No, it's just it's all encoded.
Oh, that's what okay, that makes sense.
I think they're trying to communicate something about time running differently.
What's the current time?
I
They
mean,
asked that already.
I think I recognize the first thing they pick up before the operator. I think that was the first telephone transmission, was it?
Oh, you got that.
Yeah.
Oh, you got that.
Yeah.
Alexander Graham Bell, or whatever bitch invented telephones, called his assistant to come to the room. Watson, come here. I need you.
Yep. It was in the newspapers.
Oh, yeah, you're from World War I, so that'd be something your character would know.
Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense that the Mothman would know that.
I mean, signals from some different time just passing through or something.
Or he's from Earth.
Or maybe. So he's Bell.
Alexander Graham Bell in a moth costume that was made of rubber that fused to his skin.
I mean, everybody has a Tesla, so why not Bell?
There you go.
I am not understanding a single bit of this.
I think it's also saying we need to go to the monastery.
What's the name of that guy? The guy with the documents. Who owned the documents?
Oh,
Gerard
I've got
Deliznia.
it. Gerard Delizia.
I got it!
Can you connect us to Gerard Deliznia?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Gerard Deliznia is no longer with us.
He passed away.
Would you like me to get you in touch with his sister?
Did he pass away yesterday or tomorrow?
I'm afraid we can't determine the cause of death as of yet, or the date. It seems like the records are still being finalized.
But yes, you can get us in touch with his sister.
Of course. You can find her at your mailing address.
Okay.
What's a mailing address?
I think that's the monastery.
Ah, shit. Huh. I wonder if she's a nun.
Should I ask about the...
Do you happen to have any allergies we should be aware of, such as garlic, silver, or sanctified wood?
Nope, not in this group.
No.
You may wish to bring those things with you in the event of anaphylactic shock or sudden blood loss.
That is good to know. Thank you for that tip.
So silver, sanctified wood, and what?
Garlic.
Garlic.
Which we have the cult of the Morning Lord here. We would all know
You come from Barovia.
that too.
Literally every myth is tied to this.
Beware of those bloodsuckers, but not Strahd. Strahd's perfect.
Straw.
I mean,
blood.
Strahd, the first was perfect.
He sure would show them. You showed them what for. We'll go to Strahd about this.
He would, Strahd, the actual vampire, would like look at this entire thing you're recovering. He's like, I don't know what this is.
But I'm going to put you on spikes anyway. This is blasphemous. I'm sure. Probably.
You're telling me that lightning tells fish how to go home? I'm just gonna put you onto the...
And climbers, how
This
to
sounds like
go
witchcraft.
back down mountains.
Like, I'm a necromancer, and this is way more witchcraft than I'm willing to get into.
Go back.
This sounds like Aslan's bullshit.
Go back, fishes. Go back.
This sounds like Aslan nonsense.
So,
This was a good... I'm glad that we decided to contact the Mothman.
man, what if she's a vampire?
I mean, if it's an abandoned monastery, then maybe it was abandoned for a reason.
Huh.
You know, bats tend to crowd such abandoned places.
Let's keep in mind, we should ask about this church or nunnery every time we go to on the way there. Let's see if we can get any information.
It's a good call. Maybe once we get close, the locals will have some rumors and whatnot about it.
How do you end this? Like, do you tell it to... Do you
Go
say
away.
goodbye? Yeah.
Say, I don't know, just say, well, thank you for all of your help. We'll do our best to follow your instructions.
Thank you very much for contacting customer support, and please be sure to pass on to Priscilla the side effects and things to avoid while taking this medication.
Will do. Click.
Pick up. Well, I better hang up, throw it into the fire.
Yeah, burn this.
I don't want this in my house.
So, Priscilla.
Priscilla de Lisnia. Listeners, I'll probably release this once it starts going out, but there is a aggressive serial killer wall of a mind map we have for this game where things connect to each other and back in on each other.
Well, good thing you're getting the, you know, experience that, Devon. One day you'll need it.
Serial killer wall.
Yes.
Pepe Sylvia! Pepe Sylvia!
So could you not sleep for the rest of the night? Or one of us does, probably.
Yeah, we'll go to shifts after that.
After you unhook the thing, after a while it still keeps making noise even though it's not being powered, and then it stops. And there isn't a scary brain tumor causing man outside.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good.
It is good.
It's almost not bad, okay.
Just gonna wipe some of that blood away.
Well, they left all the wool so you can mop it up.
Oh, he puts down your bed sheet. Yeah, that would have been useful.
So, I think that is where we'll end this session, as we will reconvene with you guys heading to the place.
Yep. Spring-loaded bolt thrower.
Weapons. Bring weapons.
Okay.
Alright, well, in that case, I was Devin,
Tyler?
Kevin?
And Peter.
and this is sponsored by Nobody, signing off.